Welcome to ISO for Growth, the podcast where we strip away the jargon and help small business owners build better, stronger, and more scalable companies through the power of ISO standards. I'm your host, Jenny Kilburn, and each week we spend around 20 minutes looking at how an ISO can help you win larger contracts, become trusted partners, and allow you to become more competitive in the marketplace. Let's get into today's episode. Good morning, Christine.
Morning, Jenny.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
That's good. Can you believe this is our very first podcast?
I know.
How exciting.
I know, it is very exciting.
So, Christine, just for the listeners, I think we should just recap on the reason why we're doing this podcast. And it really is about raising the awareness of ISO for small businesses.
Yeah.
Because often, we've been working with small businesses for quite some time, and we do come across occasions where they truly believe that the ISO is not for them. So what we want to do, our aim for this podcast is all about raising the awareness, getting rid of all the jargon that often people hear with ISO, and sharing some tips along the way, and hopefully our listeners will enjoy the things that we've got to share with them.
Yeah,
How does that sound?
That sounds absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Okay. So, Christine, in your experience, why do you think small businesses typically roll their eyes? When we speak to them on the very first occasion, they kind of roll their eyes and they go, oh, no, it's not for me. Oh, gosh. No, What do you think the reasons for that is?
Do you know, it's funny you should say that, Jenny, but I was out last night and I was visiting a small business. And the guy I spoke to, once we brought up the conversation on ISO, the first thing he said was, it's not really for me. My suppliers have it.
Yes. Oh, really? Oh, really?
I don't need it. My suppliers have it.
Yeah. So why do you think it was more important for the suppliers to have it and not him, do you think?
I think where he was coming from what I could gather, because his suppliers had it, that backed him. He thought that backed him enough, therefore he wouldn't need it.
I see.
So he says, his words were, when my clients are coming to me, my customers are coming to me and asking me if I've got ISO,
yes,
I can just tell them my suppliers have got it, so I don't need it.
So do you think then sometimes there's a misunderstanding how the relevance of the ISO is important for them? As opposed to saying, well, my supplier's got it, so then that's fine. But actually, there's maybe potentially the lack of understanding how it would benefit them in their own business, as opposed to just having the supplier having it. So, that's...
But, it's funny, Jenny, because as the conversation went on, it was a case of, well, actually, I am sick being asked for it more and more for me to have it.
Right.
So I'm wondering, this guy was wondering, is it something I should be looking for?
Yes.
Is it something I should be taking on board? So I think, initially, although he's thinking, well, my suppliers have got it, it's there somewhere in his mind thinking, but I need it.
Oh, that's really good. So I guess when we think about what we're trying to achieve with the podcast, it's really letting our listeners understand the relevance to them having an ISO as opposed to the supplier just having the ISO. I mean, ideally in a perfect world, the customer, the client would have it and their suppliers would have it, and there'd be this great synergy, I guess you could call it, where they're both working at the same standard.
Yeah.
Because you might find that the supplier's working at a very high standard because they've got the relevant ISO in place, and then the customer or the client is working at a lower standard, and not producing the best results that they could possibly produce as a result of not having an ISO.
Absolutely. And you've hit the nail on the head. One of the brilliant things about an ISO for any business of any size is working to that standard.
Yes.
It's working at the best standard you can work at that delivers results.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So since the podcast is about obviously ISO, we don't want to make it utterly boring, but we're here to talk about ISO. And the ISO is about not only focusing on the improvements that it can have in a business, but actually how it can scale the business as well. ISO for growth, that's the title of the podcast. So how does the lack of a formal ISO in a business, do you think, potentially cap the growth of a business?
Well, when it comes to ISO, you have different kind of levels of certification. Now, one of the levels of certification is a UCAS-backed certification.
Yes.
So if a business goes down the ISO route and goes and has that ISO management system, see if it's a 9001 built and implemented in the management system, he may choose to just have it certified at that level, or choose to bring in UCAS. Now, if you're going to bring in UCAS to certify your management system, it's going to help your business scale so much more, purely because UCAS is the most widely recognised certification there is out there. It's government recognised, it's internationally recognised, and it's basically the certification that people want to see on your website. They are looking for UCAS.
I mean, we do recognise that there are other options for clients.
Absolutely, they are.
To take, but for us, we do promote the UCAS element because you're quite right, because it has such a high standard. The audits that the clients go through are rigorous. It's not just a tick boxing exercise. They really go into quite a lot of depth. And the idea to do that really is so that the client is getting a lot of benefit out of having the ISO. They're making those improvements within the business themselves, and it's not just a certificate. There's so many benefits on it. I mean, one of the benefits of even having an ISO certification, whether it's UCAS or not, let's be fair here, is that it opens up opportunities to get on supply chains, doesn't it?
It does.
It'll have, if the client is involved in tendering, things like that, it'll open that opportunity there. And I often think about the ISO it deems you as a trusted partner as well. If I come to you and I know you've got a relevant ISO in place, let's say it's quality, I know that you're working to high quality standards. If it's environmental, I know that you're really focusing on how you running your business is affecting the environment. If we think about information security, I know that you're trying your damnedest, you could call it, to really ensure that security measures are in place to ensure that whoever works with me, you can trust me. And I think that's what the ISO, if you want to call it a badge, is actually saying, isn't it?
Definitely. I always say an ISO certification is evidence.
Yes.
It provides evidence to your current clients, your current stakeholders, to new clients and stakeholders, that you are the best you can be. You deliver the best quality service that you possibly can.
Absolutely. And also even having it, we typically work with small businesses, but the corporate world, the corporate businesses, they'll all have ISO.
They do.
And as a small business, you're competing against them.
Absolutely.
So not having it, you're potentially stumping your growth, really, aren't you?
It's funny you should mention that as well, Jenny. I spoke to somebody recently and I'd said, we're talking about ISO, and I'd mentioned one of their competitors, and I'd said, they have ISO in place as well, you'd be good to have a look and see what they're doing. And the reply to that was, but they've got lots of money. They've got lots of clients. And my answer to that was, funnily enough, and why?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes.
Why?
Why
have they got lots of clients?
Yes.
Why are they building and scaling faster than you?
Yes, yeah.
Because they've got ISO.
That's a really good point. That's really. I mean, we have to be realistic for a small business. A lot of this does come down to the lack of available funds.
Yes.
Cash. You'll have in your role, when you're speaking to new prospects, it's all down, how much does it cost, Christine?
Yes.
You're always getting that, I'm sure.
Always.
Getting that, I'm sure. But actually, small business owners need to think about the potential that having an ISO, quite rightly what you've just said, will bring to the business.
Absolutely.
As opposed to going, it's going to cost me a few pounds and I don't have that cash.
It's so important when considering ISO is look at what value that ISO is going to bring to your business.
Yes.
Because the outlay is going to be, you know, your outlay is a one-off cost.
Yes.
But that, when you see what value
What
that outlay is going to
value.
bring you, it's going to be
Yeah,
huge when you want to scale
yeah,
your business.
yeah. So I guess one of the misconceptions around having an ISO, it is for the larger businesses. That's what
Absolutely.
most people will think.
Yes.
It's not for us. And I guess what I'd love this podcast to be able to do is really educate the listeners to really get them to understand that actually it's for them just as much as it is for the large corporate world. Us small business owners, we need to conquer.
We do, absolutely, Jenny, and that's so right. ISO is there for businesses of all sizes, all industries, you know, and in ISO as well. Some business owners, I think, they may worry that they have to change what they do to fit ISO.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Because, you know, as consultants, we'll find sometimes when we go into work with a new client, they want everything perfect before we go in to start working with them. So no, we can't do that yet because we know a particular process isn't working well enough or whatever it is, and they go into this panic about wanting to change everything and then inviting us in, and we're going, no, you're doing it the wrong way around.
Absolutely.
You know, the ISO will help you identify the true way to be working to reap the benefits and to become more attractive, to stop wasting time, to stop having, I don't know, products returned to you because of you know, damage throughout the manufacturing process, I don't know, for example. So yes, you're quite right, actually. Companies want to get things perfect before they start working.
Yeah, you know, funnily enough, some people have said to me in the past, well, I know all my processes. I've got some on my laptop. I keep some up here. I keep some in my mind, so I know what I'm doing up here. I've got some written. I've got this notebook that's just my training file. I've got everything written down there. And once I kind of gone in and went in and explained, well, this is what ISO is going to do for all those processes you've got there. We don't want to change because their worry was we're going to change what's in his head, what's in the laptop, what's in the notebook. No, we're not. We want to get those processes together. We want to put them in one place, make them streamlined, make it so your business just runs better.
Yeah, and often, you know, what I've experienced personally when I've worked with clients in the past is that, you know, going back to the point around they have their processes in place and they know what they're doing and, you know, it's all in their head and stuff. And then you get a pair of fresh eyes in and I look at your process and I can see the errors in it already.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to doing the same thing day in, day out. You know, we do, we're at this point here, then we go to this point and this point. But when I go to point, I don't know, step 2, we always encounter this little error. But but because it's always there, I accept that it's just the way it is, and then I will go in and go, okay, so I can identify that there's an issue here, but have you thought of doing X? And then often you get, oh my God, I never thought about it like that. And that's the beauty of what, you know, as consultants, as ISO consultants, we bring to the table there. We can see it from a fresh pair of eyes and help them refine and work more efficiently in terms of how they're operating. So we're not there to change everything and turn everything upside down. We're just there to potentially sometimes just putting those little tweaks in to make sure that if we're talking about a production line, for example, that when that product gets to the end of the production line, it's going to go to the client and we're confident it's not going to be returned for any particular reason at all, because we've tweaked things along the way where necessary.
Absolutely. I love that, Jenny. I love that you've said that because it's so true. We're there to make it better.
We're there to make it better, yes. So we're not there to stump them, you know, because you will get a small business owner and they will say things like, well, we're doing all right. But I would say, do you not want to do better?
Yeah.
Do you not want to do better? Yeah.
And that's another great reason with a great aspect of ISO.
Yeah.
It pushes you to do better.
It does, because it's all around continuous improvement. You know, you plan, you do, you check and you act.
Yeah.
And that continuous cycle, you know, you're not just plodding along, well, we're doing okay. Actually, I want to strive to do better. I want my customer service to be even better. I want my complaints to be reduced, if not zero. You know, I want the production line to work more efficiently. I want the team, you know, when you think about the employees in the business, you know, they all have a part to play.
Of course they do.
When it comes to ISO. It's not about, you know, once upon a time ISO was all about the top management would sit on their ivory tower, and one person would be managing the ISO system, but actually it's a team involvement. Everyone in the business has a part to play.
Of course they do. And it brings confidence to a team.
It does.
And I think one of the ways it brings confidence is you have a full team sat in your office or your warehouse or whichever industry you're in. That team, there might be people within that team that's been there 20 years. There might be people that have only been there a few months. But with an ISO management system, it ensures that team are all working to the same standard. So it makes them feel as one. There's not one that I know more than you. It brings everybody together because they have the management system in. They're all educated on, and they all know that they're working at the same level.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, and that's a nice way to look at it, isn't it? It's not just about management getting the certificate. It's about involving the team.
Absolutely,
as well,
it is.
And ensuring that they have their part to play to make it a success. Because the beauty about a small business is that you've got that, if you want to call it a control or support mechanism, you've got the entire team that you can support, and you all have the same, what's the word I'm trying to find? You've got the same aspirations to make that business a success.
Absolutely.
Everyone feels they're involved. When we think about how we work here at Synagos.
Do you know, I was just going to bring us, you just read my mind. I was just going to say, we are a prime example of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Where, we can, because we're a small business, we can just turn to each other and help and share and open knowledge in the office, which we're quite lucky at.
We are very lucky, and I think our own ISO 9001 helps us do that.
Yes.
I remember when I first started the business, I came in, I had my induction, my training, but then I knew my role, I knew exactly what was expected of me because we had this management system in place.
Yes.
And it's funny because this is the first time in my whole working life where I've experienced an ISO management system.
Oh, wow.
And it does make a difference.
It does make a difference, yes. I mean, the ISO has been around for such a long time, and often business owners will hear of it, but they don't understand how beneficial it is to them. But over time, throughout this podcast, we'll be able to share lots of useful tips and things, won't we?
Absolutely, looking forward to doing that as well. I think it's so important.
So do you think an ISO can future-proof a business at all? Because that's a question.
That is a question. Can it future-proof a business? I don't think 100% it can, because nothing can.
No. Yeah.
But I think when ISO is done right, businesses can stay resilient.
Yes.
It can help them scale, and it can help them move forward. It can help them push that business forward.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yes, and it's just about understanding the intricate details of it, and how that can benefit a business.
Definitely. With ISO, as we talked about before, in ISO is also about continual improvement. It's about looking at your risks, looking at your opportunities, looking at your improvement. If when you have an ISO in place, it's encouraging you to do that all the time. So you're constantly looking at your business, how it operates. You're looking, the minute something would happen, that actually I need to relook at this, I need to make it better, can help your business scale. And can help you future-proof it.
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Because, you can find situations whereby something's gone wrong in a business and we become very reactive and, X has happened and we'll solve that problem now, there and then. That's great. The client then becomes happy. But then 2 or 3 months down the line, the same issue arises and then you become reactive and then you solve that problem again. And then, so what the ISO is doing is looking for trends around those same issues that's happening again and again and again. And then what it'll help you do is put mitigating actions in place to ensure that it either reduces it from happening again, or more importantly, it doesn't happen again. Because we do forget, something may happen today and we're reactive and we'll sort it out. And then it might not happen again for 6 months, but then I forgot that it happened six
Yeah.
months ago, and then I'm reactive. But we don't want to run a business like that. We don't
Absolutely
want to waste
not.
time just
Yeah.
doing the same thing over and over again. So when, having the relevant ISO does address.
Definitely, because it's true what you've said. It happens 6 months down that you've
Yeah.
forgot, you put it right and everything's great. 6-7 months down the line, it may happen again, and you don't remember until it happens again, and you think, why didn't I follow that through?
Yes.
Why didn't I put something in place to follow it
Yes.
through? And it may not have happened a
May not
second
happen
time.
again. That's very true. That's very true. I don't know what else to say at this moment in time.
No, well, I think we've addressed quite a few of the issues, haven't we?
Yeah.
Surrounding small businesses
Yeah.
and ISOs. Obviously, you don't want to go into too much detail right now, because it's a lot of information to take in, isn't it? You've got to, for anybody listening, they've got to kind of listen to what we say, take it on board, and go away and think about it and think how an ISO can affect them.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that the podcasts that we're creating here, that we're going to share our knowledge and our experiences and things like that over the coming months, if not years. It's our first one.
It is.
And we don't want to bombard anyone with lots of, the technical details that involve. It's just a general overview of how an ISO can potentially help a business.
Absolutely.
Business scale.
And it's good for us just to, the first conversation we've had, just to sit here and have a chat about it. Because we love ISO. ISO is what we do day in, day out. We're very passionate about it. We know how this can how this can improve a small business, a business of any size. And that's why we're so passionate about it. Yeah. Well, hopefully any small businesses listening to this, or any other businesses of any size, will see our passion, go away and look at it.
Yes.
And they'll start and feel passionate about it too.
Yeah, and want to look into it a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But it'd be great if our listeners could then just join us on this journey of learning and exploring, and sending in questions, and we can include them in the podcast and answer any relevant questions that come along.
That would be good. That would be a good one.
That's a good idea, actually.
A Q&A.
A Q&A.
We could have a Q&A, Jenny. We like Q&As, don't we?
Yeah, so those that are listening, if you want to send in any questions, we're quite happy to address them on this podcast. This
Absolutely.
ISO for Growth podcast.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Christine, for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been a great conversation, and looking forward to speaking to you again next week.
Do you know what, Jenny? Thank you for letting me join you this morning on the podcast.
Welcome.
I've really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all from today's episode of ISO for Growth. Remember, ISO isn't designed to cause you stress. It's the foundation that allows you to grow your business. If you want to scale, you need a system that works even when you are not in the business. If you've enjoyed this discussion, please hit follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and share this episode with one other business owner who is currently feeling the growing pains of a messy process. I'm Jenny Kilburn, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.